Greetings everybody and welcome to yet another one of my videos. Please welcome 2024 with some humility, and as mentioned in my previous video, we need to be aware of what the year has ahead for us. I just want to mention the following. The VFR, or your motorcycle, before we even give a title to this video, I just want to mention that we are in summer in South Africa, and as a result we have thunderstorms, rain, and pretty much biblical events take place. I think it's a worldwide phenomena. But why am I saying this? Just recently, I'm going to put a couple of pictures of, this is going to be a quick one by the way, but just as an informative video to let you know what to expect in days like the one I had on Friday returning from work. Now, the predictions on the weatherman were exactly that there would be thunderstorms in the afternoon, and knowing the weather in South Africa like I do, as you probably all already know, I have a PPL which I got in as a youth, and I was taught a few things, one or two things about weather patterns and what they can do. And this to say that on Friday I almost took my car, there it is, to work as a result of what I was to expect on Friday. Now, I saw the cloud build up Friday late afternoon. But before I carry on, let me cue the intro and we'll continue in a moment. Before we continue with the promised content I mentioned, I just want to give you a mileage. I think this is something I should do every time I record. So 41,737, that's 3,000 kilometers done on my VFR in maybe 6 months, I think it is. I need to go and look back on my videos to see when I first got it. But yeah, let's just warm it up. It's a cold start, by the way. The beat of a V4 is so unique and so awesome, and this is why we don't mind going through what we go through to keep these bikes maintained and serviced and rideable because of that V4. Anyway, let's continue with the weather patterns and weather conditions that motorcycle unfortunately offer when you commute. So, getting back to business, this to say, you're looking at a VFR that's spick and span now. The chain is a little bit loose as a result of a puncture that I had repaired at a motorcycle repair shop. Unfortunately, they left the chain loose. I'm going to have to get a Honda to get that tightened up. Unfortunately, that is, I noticed the chain loose when I start slowing down. You can actually hear it. But anyway, back to what I said earlier on, the weather in South Africa and in most places can really cause havoc. But I have, in defense of motorcycling, the following to say. Now, when I said it rained, it caused the havoc that I'm going to I'm going to somehow show you on this video of what really took place on Friday afternoon. And as a car's floating, you're familiar with the genre. Suddenly people need boats instead of vehicles. And the motorcycle, now I'm coming to this particular position to show you the front of a motorcycle, because the front wheel of a motorcycle is very narrow and there's only one. And when it rains, this wheel cuts through water 10 times better than any motor car's wheel. Aquaplaning starts taking place, And you'll note that most vehicles from 120, which is usual highway speeds, start slowing down to the point where they are actually floating around. And in the motorcycle, that doesn't happen. You literally cruise through obviously the water levels have to be reasonable. The water levels I went through were probably 1/3, I would say, just above or just below the fairing of the motorcycle. And I felt that as I crossed through the water, because the water splashed like a boat would do on my boots, just on the pedals here. My boots were wet for 2 days. Let's just say for what I expected as a dangerous return back from work, actually turned out as probably one of the safest returns home, considering that I was on a motorcycle. I want to just mention the following. Motorcyclists, especially commuters, understand that rain is part of the deal. And unlike, even though, and I admit it myself, it's easy to install fear because ice conditions and cold when you're riding a motorcycle and you're wet are a problem. But if that doesn't happen and you are pretty close to home, there's no reason why you shouldn't cruise during a full-on thunderstorm. Now, if winds are blowing faster than 50 knots or 60, that's going to kilometers per hour, 100 kilometers per hour, then probably wise to park under a bridge or something just to get some kind of protection. And you got to understand there are limits to the wind conditions that a motorcyclist can withstand. But you'd be surprised. I mean, if you can do 240 km an hour in a straight line with some lateral wind, these things can withstand more wind than you can imagine. But this to say, and very quickly, that motorcycles are absolutely fantastic to cruise through in rain. Whilst the others are floating around, you're just cruising by on your two wheels without feeling a thing. Obviously, you've got to have a decent helmet with a decent windshield because that is going to help you see. Without visibility, you got a problem. You cannot open your visor at 100 kilometers per hour on deluge. So, this to say, for those of you that are wanting to commute, and I've spoken much about it before, and this is why I mention commuting is something that it's almost cultural. A commuter has almost adapted a personality, and he becomes one with the machine, one with the weather, one with the whole atmosphere. And a trip can be thoroughly enjoyed back home. Obviously, you don't want to go to work and be wet already. If that's the case, you better take a pair of extra pants or find a way to protect yourself with some gear or another that will keep you from getting wet on your way to work. But usually the problem is only going to work and getting wet. Anyway, very quickly, I hope you've enjoyed the informative 5 or 10 minutes that I had on you on commuting with a motorcycle, especially after Friday's event, which I thought was magnificent. I like a child screaming when you're going on a roller coaster and you're just going through water, overtaking cars. It was fun, man. And of course, I had to take a shower after that immediately when I got home and dry my jacket, my boots. But it was worth the 20 or half an hour that it took me to get home on Friday. It really was fun. And today, as you see, I've had to put a lot of elbow grease together to look decent because unfortunately rain comes at a certain price. One last thing I want to mention, if those of you want to exceed your top speeds behind the trucks, this is the kind of problem you can expect. Chips. And one of you have come on board to my channel to mention that hail can cause that too. So yes, thank you for letting me know. I'm fully aware. Here's another one of the damages that just riding can cause to a motorcycle, but that's part of the deal. It comes at a price. Same with a vehicle. Eventually, sooner or later, you are to replace a bumper somewhere along the line, get a spray job somewhere. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the quick content and the quick video. Just a quick comeback for 2024. Continue riding. Don't be afraid of the rain unless you're in Europe, because there it rains every day. I think those guys are the pros because they ride every day in rain. Particularly further north, UK weather, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Have a blessed evening or day, afternoon, wherever you are, and God bless. We'll see you on the next one.